You know, the United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the ape, the young man who has become a legend in his own time. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
A legend in my own time. That's right. Oh boy, what's up, everybody? It's yours truly, Ron Kelly, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's on all over the place. BlogTalkRadio.com, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. I forgot to turn the TV off. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all over the cotton picking place. Anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm holding my breath because I've been having some Wi-Fi issues. Not sure why. But maybe Donald Trump is interfering with my Wi-Fi, trying to put a brother to bed. Anyway, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me once again. It's another Thursday. Ain't you glad you made it through? Ain't you glad you made it? Aren't you? I should say, glad you made it from last Thursday to this Thursday. I bet you is, as I know I am. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for got another birthday coming up in a couple of days. I didn't make it there yet, but I believe that I'll be all right. Anyway, everybody, it's a couple minutes past the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Lots to talk about tonight. It's Black History Month. Spotlight. I'm going to put a spotlight on, someone in Black History Month. And the death of Jesse Jackson, Why do we, after people die, why do we, when somebody dies, then we want to celebrate them? Why we do that? And if you want to know what happens when you die, just look at what happened when somebody else died that you know. Nothing, actually. People just go on, they move on, and they go on with their lives. They, hey, I remember you, and, but people, when you die, after a while, people just kind of move on with their lives, and they don't really think about you that much anymore. That's exactly what happens, when you die. And if you're lucky, around your birthday or something like that, somebody will say, hey, today was Ron's birthday, for example. I'm not planning on going anywhere anytime soon, but, that's what it is. Anyway, everybody, welcome. Thank you. Appreciate you. This is the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, LA Talk Radio, WBOK 1230 AM in New Orleans, all over the darn place. So appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for joining me today. There's a lot of, I've been making a mistake of watching court TV, And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of big court cases going on, stuff I didn't even really know about. Like the kid, the 15-year-old that killed his brother, and then he went outside and killed 4 more people, including a cop who was waiting for his wife to come home so he can kiss his daughter goodbye before he went to work. Oh, man. Unbelievable. He got like 20 life sentences. So, man, they handed him out. And I didn't even know about there's a lot of stuff that gets past even the R. There's stuff that gets past me as well. And I was just watching one. Edric Faust was the guy's name. Allegedly killed somebody 21 years ago. Now, something's wrong with that case, because DNA, I don't believe DNA lasts that long. 21 years, but she threw the book at him, 2 consecutive. I mean, one life sentence is enough. I mean, you're not going to die, come back, and then do the second. You're not going to die, come back, and do the second life sentence. I mean, that's not going to happen. But they be giving 2 and 3 and 4 life sentences, like 1 for each person you killed. And you're only going to serve 1. And that's it. And all the other ones, what's the sense? I guess they want to send a message. We want to send a message to these criminals that we're gonna, even though we know you're only gonna live one life, we're gonna give you 4 life sentences consecutively. So even if you by chance happen to come back from the dead, you still gotta serve that one too. You know, in case you got 9 lives, you're gonna serve 4 of them before you're eligible for parole in like 300 years. Anyway, everybody, welcome to the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Got lots to talk about. You know, we're gonna talk about, which got a lot of feedback. Can a single mom, in not necessarily a black single mother, single mom, black or white, can they raise a boy to be a man? Can a single mom raise a boy to be a man? That's one of the things we're going to talk about tonight. It's the 19th, what is today? Today's 19th of February, 2026. Man, it's just flying. Look at it already. I know y'all still remember what you did on New Year's Eve. I know I do. And man, already it's almost March. You know what I'm saying? Next Friday it'll be March. So wow, unbelievable. Anyway, everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining me. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Yeah, so Jesse Jackson passed away. Everybody knows. Most of you guys know Jesse Jackson passed away. You know, and the thing about Jesse Jackson had Parkinson's or something, some kind of disease, you know, that older people get. And nobody was talking about Jesse, you know. Nobody was talking about Jesse. It's funny, like, people don't talk about you till you die. And nobody was paying attention to Jesse Jackson, you know, until he died. And now he's getting all of this love that should have been given to the man when he had Alzheimer's or whatever it was. He had Parkinson's when he started going down, you know. But Jesse Jackson was the first black man to run for president. Shirley Chisholm was the first black woman to run for president. People, and when Shirley Chisholm ran for president, people were like, "What? A black, not just a black person, a black woman." But Shirley Chisholm is one of the groundbreakers, one of the pioneers of the movement for black folks in the United States of America. She ran for president. Shirley Chisholm, look it up. And Jesse Jackson was the first black man to run for president, not once, but twice. So Jesse Jackson kind of laid the foundation for Barack Obama. Jesse Jackson ran in 1980, and then he ran again in he ran 1980 and 1984. Those were the years that Jesse Jackson ran for president of the United States of America. He kind of laid the foundation for Barack Obama. Because, you know, Reverend Al Sharpton ran for president, but, you know, nobody even really noticed that, you know. No disrespect to Reverend Al, you know, no disrespect to him, but nobody even really paid attention to that. The Reverend Al ran for president. Okay, all right. I couldn't see if anybody was making any comments. Yeah, I'm pretty sure y'all gonna be making them. But yeah, Jesse Jackson passed away just a few days ago. You know, peace be upon Reverend Jackson, who was not. Because you can't compare him to Martin Luther King. That's an unfair assessment. Nobody compares to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Nobody. You know, so that would be an unfair comparison, comparing anybody to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But yeah, and then you have these people. Well, I'll get to that a little bit later on. But yeah, and Jesse Jackson was a force. You know, Jesse Jackson marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. back in the day. He was young. Jesse was in his 20s, I believe. He walked with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And so yeah, so we've lost the pioneer, Jesse Jackson. Not sure when the arrangements going to take place. But you expect a lot of people are going to be there, all kinds of celebrities, and you know, Barack Obama will probably be there, and I doubt if Trump, I doubt if Mr. Trump, I doubt if Mr. Trump makes it, but I think Barack Obama will probably be there as well. So anyway, it's about 10 minutes past the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. You know, Gail Fisher used to be on that old TV show Mannix back in the 70s. Was the first black woman to win an Emmy. Gail Fisher, first black woman to win an Emmy for a show that she wasn't for a show that she wasn't a servant in. You know, because Butterfly McQueen won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress back in the Jim Crowiest era. When she won, as a matter of fact, she couldn't even stay in a hotel. She couldn't even stay in a hotel. They wouldn't let her stay in a hotel that all the other nominees were staying in. It's like astounding. You know, it's a miracle that she even was considered, and she won for Best Supporting Actress for Gone with the Wind. Shocking that a black woman, especially back then in the 40s, would win an Oscar. Unbelievable, Butterfly McQueen. But Gail Fisher was the first black woman to win an Emmy for a non-servant role. Gail Fisher, yeah, used to be on the old show Mannix back in the day when people used to smoke. You know, and I miss those old shows. I mean, I watched some of them. Not that I was watching them when they were on network TV, but I watch them now, like you find them all over the place on Fire Stick. And I miss those shows where people used to smoke, you know, because it made it seem more real that people smoked, you know, lit up a cigarette. I don't smoke cigarettes, but, you know, I like that, you know, to watch the shows where people would smoke a cigarette, light it up. They may not get a chance to smoke all of it because of the dialogue, but I liked seeing that, like on the old Alfred Hitchcock and Mannix and some of the other older shows back in the day before smoking became such a you know, how they took the cigarette commercials off the air, you know, so you can't even no billboards and no TV commercials. And the funny thing about it, you know, it didn't stop anything. You know, it didn't stop anything that people still smoke now. You know, too late. They had the commercials. You know, remember the old Marlboro Man and stuff? You know, Virginia Slims supposed to be for women exclusively. So if you was a man, you smoked Virginia Slims, you was gay. But now, you know, even though they took the advertising down, it didn't change anything. People still smoke just as much as they did, you know, back in the day. And it's about 13 minutes past the hour. So in the next break, after the next break, I'm going to get into not a black woman, not a black, this isn't you know, based on race, but can a single mom, y'all ain't gonna like what I say. Shout out to Mark Follis who shout out to Mark Follis who who got, and then he dragged the Mark Follis, shout out to him, and then he said not only can a single mother raise a child, but a stepfather. And I'm like, hold up, because I was a stepfather. You know, does that mean I'm a simp or something? You know, a wimp? You know, no. This man says, hey, Ron, yes, I did raise my sons by myself, but I had to reach out for help. He reached out for help to a male figure because I could not teach a man how to be a man. Teach a child how to be a man, right. What he did was learn to respect women. Yes, it was a difficult thing. And this is the honest thing, because I got so many people who said, yes, yeah, I can make him a man. Yes, yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, give me a break. But there were so many and then one lady who I don't know who she was, but one lady came in and she said, well, she did it and her son is in medical school. I'm like, well, that's, you know, success doesn't necessarily dictate manhood. You know, success doesn't necessarily dictate manhood. You know, just because, I mean, okay, he's in medical school, he's going to wind up being a doctor if he goes through all the way through with it. But just because he's in medical school, that's not a measure of manhood. You know, does he respect women? Does he know how to walk like a man, talk like a man? You know, I mean, it's not just about teaching him how to put the, well, anyway. Oh boy. Okay, I'll tell you what. All right, we're going to get into this. I know y'all have been waiting, so we are going to get into this. And oh, what did I do? Yeah, we're going to get into that in just a moment. Okay, everybody, we'll take a break and we'll come back with more of this program. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com.
The Ron Kelly Show. Real talk, bold truth. Tune in for your weekly dose of unapologetic conversations that don't dodge the truth or dilute the message. Stay informed on the issues that matter most on The Ron Kelly Show, every Monday at 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m.
Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
All righty then, we are back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all over the darn place. LA Talk Radio, just everywhere. We're everywhere. And WBOK 1230 a.m. in New Orleans. So I got the New Orleans folks tuning in, and more to come. More to come. Anyway, it's about 18 minutes past the hour. And I almost lost my train of thought. No, the shout out to my peoples at American Porterfield Transportation. You know, don't you know, since 1980, 46 years ago this year, that American Porterfield has been providing safe and reliable transportation to and from your destination. We're talking about casino trips, church trips, school districts, private school transportation, you name it, American Porterfield can handle it. Just give them a call, 908-753-6423, 908-753-6423, located down in Plainfield, New Jersey. Now, just because you live up here don't mean that you can't get him a shout. So once again, 908-753-6423, or you can email him, amateur.porterfield@verizon.net. That's amateur.porterfield@verizon.net. American Porterfield is your source for safe, reliable transportation to and from your destination at 19 minutes past the hour. Tish Man says it had a mental effect. No man such as. Well, see, we're gonna get into that, everybody. So I know y'all been clicking on to see what I'm talking about, and then clicking off, because I know a lot of y'all was waiting for me to talk about the single mom raising a boy to be a man. And you know, and I got a lot of feedback. I got a lot of feedback on it. Mostly a lot of yeses that yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I can do it. And then some honest people like Tish Man who said no, because you know, see, you know, especially with the single mom who's not in a relationship. Let's go there. Single mother not in a relationship. Okay. Yeah, single mom. Yeah, because a lot of people are punching in and punching out. I don't know what's going on, if the signal's not right or whatever. But somebody's responded to me, so the sound must be okay, because I've had issues with that. But anyway, so yeah, especially a single mom who's not in a relationship. You know, let's start there. Your single mom not in a relationship is in a relationship with her son. Now, I don't mean, you know, sex or anything like that, but single mom who's not in a relationship, doesn't have a man, more often than not, is in a relationship with their son. Okay, once again, I don't mean sexual, physical, or anything like that. I mean that single moms who don't have a boyfriend or a husband, more often than not, will be in relationships with their sons. Not physical relationship, not, you know, not anything on a relationship level, but they express their feelings to their son. And this is what happens a lot of times. They express their feelings to their sons. Okay, because a woman has to have something to love, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But a woman has to have something to love. Okay, because that's what women, from what I understand, are built for, to love. You know, or something to express love to. Okay, so when like the woman says, I'm single by choice, that's a joke. You know, I don't believe that at all. The women says they're single by choice. No, you're not. No, you're not. I don't think anybody really wants to be single. And if you've had that bad of a time, then, you know, maybe you need to take a look in the mirror. If your love life has been so horrible that you just don't want to be in a relationship, then maybe you should take a look at yourself. But I mean, that's not what we're talking about. But yeah, a lot of times women will raise the boy to be the man that they want to be, not necessarily that they want to raise the boy to be the man that they would want. So, especially the single moms who don't have a boyfriend, and your single mom can mean single woman who's living with her son in the household. That could be the single mom. But now, yeah, so more often than not, the mother will raise the son to be the kind of man that she would want. Not necessarily what the man should be, but more often than not, the mothers will raise the son to be the man that they would want. So they're gonna instill the things that they would want in a man into their son. That happens more often than not. Okay, you know what? Something's going on here. Let me take a break. Let me take a quick break and come back. And, you know, we'll talk more about this in a minute, because I noticed that people are coming on and going off right away. Coming on, going off, coming on, going on. So, and I know a lot of y'all were waiting for this, for me to have this conversation. I don't know if I'm having some sound issues because I can't hear myself out there. I can hear myself here where the show is produced at and aired at. So let me take a quick break, come back with more of the program. It's the Ron Kelly Show, and it's on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, YouTube, blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com. All right, we are back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. And yeah, and I'm just noticing, it's just one thing is not one thing is another. I'm just noticing that we are not on Facebook. For some strange reason, the Ron Kelly Show is not on Facebook like it should be. You know what? And I don't know why. You could go on. I mean, if you're not able to get me on Facebook, you can go on LinkedIn, and I'm there on LinkedIn. But I don't know. I don't know because I know people are coming and going, and I'm like, why are people coming and going? When the program. Okay, yeah, it is on. It's on. We are back. It's the Ron Kelly. All right, yeah, it is on. Okay, we are on blogtalkradio.com. It's the RonKellyShow.com. Okay. We're on because people are clicking in and clicking out, clicking in, clicking out. And I'm like, now what the heck is going on? Why people is clicking in and clicking out to the program? But we are on. We're on Facebook. We are. The Ron Kelly Show is on Facebook. It's on LinkedIn. So we're answering the question tonight, everybody, on the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, is that can a single mom raise a boy to be a man? I was looking for Mark Fowler because Mark Fowler raised the stink the other day when I posted it. So I was definitely looking for him, as a brother to come in and talk about that. I don't know, maybe he's busy tonight. But maybe Mark Fowler is business to. Maybe Mark Fowler is on. Mark Fowler. So I was hoping he would come on the program tonight, but I haven't heard from him yet. But we are on. The Ron Kelly Show is on Facebook. There are some people who are, because I noticed people were coming in and going out, coming in and going. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Getting 100 people, and then there's 2 people. I mean. Shout out to the YouTube people. Somebody on YouTube sent me a message say I might be their cousin. Oh boy. Tish Man says I took a look at what his father, that person that raised him. Well, you know what? It's all. Again, a lot of times the single mom will raise the kid, the boy, to be like the man that she would want. So she would instill what she wants from a man and turn and make her son that way. This is what happens a lot of times, you know. And I'm looking for the more. Thank you, Tish, man. I'm looking for some more comments here. People, if they have something they want to say, you can definitely put it on. You're welcome. I'm not going to jump down your throat. The Ron Kelly Show on Facebook. But yeah, that's what happens. Is that you know? And we could ask the same question: can a man raise a daughter, a girl, to be a woman? And probably not. You know, probably not. So, yeah, so I think that, see, when a woman, again, I know I said it a couple times, when a woman is trying to raise a child, raise a man, raise a boy to be a man, she's going to raise that boy to be what she wants in a man, for the most part. This is what happens when a woman raises a boy to be a man. So, and I see a lot of the women who are saying that they can raise a boy to be a man. I see the one young lady I know who has 2 boys, and she said, well, you know, she can't raise a boy to be a man. She's got 2 boys, you know. So I've gotten messages here and there in between when I posted it the first time and now, and some women were saying to me, DMing me or whatever, saying that they can't raise a boy to be a man. You know, now do I believe Lamar Gates says define man? Well, do I believe that boys grow up to be gay because they were raised by the mother? No, that I definitely don't believe. You know, I don't believe that a boy grow up to be. I don't believe that a boy would grow up to be gay because he was raised by a mom and no dad. But Lamar Gates says define man. Well, you know what it's, you know, a man. You know what, you said that your mother raised you, Lamar Gates, you said your mother raised you to be a man, raised you up from a boy to be a man. So you said you're the prime example of a woman raising a boy to be a man. You said you're an example. You know, so this is what we're talking about. Man, handle your business. Do what you need to do. Respect women. You know, make your own money. Just, you know, pay your own bills, like what a man should do. You know, what a man does. Now, I'm not talking about like taking care of women and all of that stuff. Okay, Lamar Gates says he has his own definition, which wouldn't match everyone. Okay, well, so what? You know, you can still, if you have your own definition, Lamar Gates, you can tell us. You know, I'll put it up on a board. Yeah, but see, now, do you believe that a man could raise a girl to be a woman? Me personally, I don't think so. You know, I would definitely need some help with that. I don't think me as a man can raise a girl to be a woman, because I'm going to tell her what I think, and what I think may not be right. You know, nobody knows how to be a woman, or nobody can tell you how to be a woman like a woman. So I would say that I wouldn't, come on, Lamar. A woman, you know what a woman. Stephanie Freitas, how about that? Is a woman. So there you go. There's your definition. At 26 minutes before the hour. So yeah, so I'm looking for some more comments about this to spur the dialogue. Can a woman raise a boy to be a man? You know, and I think that some of the women who responded to this and said no were, you know, I think they were right on with this. You know, I think they were right that a woman cannot raise a boy to be a man, because, you know, there's some things that, you know, because a man needs to be around men. A boy needs to be around men. You know, I believe that a boy needs to be around men. It wouldn't be a good idea for a boy to be around all girls, and that doesn't mean that he's going to be gay. But a boy should be around men because he needs some examples of a man. He needs some examples of what it's like to be a man. So I definitely believe that a boy should spend most of his time around men growing up, so he can see, you know, I mean, I'm talking about men. I'm not talking about males, males. I'm talking about men, mens, where he could take a look at men, productive men, successful men, men who were handling their business and take care of their children and nurturing them and doing the things that the kid needs, you know, doing the things that the kid needs. That's what he should be being around. Men who are being men, not men who are ducking child support and you know, and laying up in the crib and not helping to pay for nothing. Not that kind of man. You know, we're not talking about that. But I need to let you know that the views and opinions expressed here are exclusively those of myself and R. Kelly Media Enterprises LLC, and not those of my advertisers or my support team or my sponsors or my affiliates. These are mine, so don't kill the. I was gonna say don't kill the messenger, but don't kill the people who carry the message. These are my views of myself and R. Kelly Media Enterprises LLC. Okay, great. At 36 minutes before the hour. So let's see who's making a comment now. Yeah, good role models, Lamont Gates. Good role models. I know, because I really believe that my life would have been better if I would have grew up around some good role models. You know, and they don't have to necessarily be doctors or lawyers. I mean, that would have been nice too. But where I may have been a doctor, I could have been a lawyer, I could have been a police chief or something highfalutin, a professor, somebody maybe with a doctorate. But because a lot of our kids are growing up, a lot of our kids, especially the black children, are growing up around around do-bad Negroes. A lot of our kids, and then they follow them. They growing up around drug dealers. They growing up around gangbangers, and a lot of the boys turn out to be drug dealers and gang bangers because that's what they hang around, especially in the inner city and in the hood. But I would say to you, Lamont Gates, can women be good role models? Well, maybe they could be good role models in when that kid grows up to be a man. Maybe he can take some things away from his mom. I mean, you're never going to find nobody like your mom. And personally speaking, I don't want nobody just like my mother. You know, I wouldn't want to be with anybody who was like my mom. You know, I love my mom, don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't want to be, because it's going to take a lifetime to find that. You're never going to find anybody like your mother. You know, Tish Man says it's all about instilling morals and values. Yeah, but a boy still needs to be around a man. He needs to hang around men. Decent men, not bums. But a boy needs to hang around decent men so he can see how men walk, how men talk, how they integrate, how they associate. He needs to see all of those things. How men sit, what men do when they're out and about. A boy needs to see that stuff. And I'm talking about decent men. I'm not talking about people who carrying guns and stuff, but I'm talking about decent guys, who work every day, who handle their business, take care of the bills, protect the family, and do the things that they need to do. That's what I'm talking about. Because a boy can't learn anything from as far as like mannerisms and, and how you carry yourself and all that. You're not going to learn that from a woman. You're not going to learn that from a woman. We'll take a break and we'll come back, everybody, with more of this program. Alrighty, then. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the Ron Kelly Show. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
Real talk, bold truth. Tune in for your weekly dose of unapologetic conversations that don't dodge the truth or dilute the message. Stay informed on the issues that matter most on The Ron Kelly Show, every Monday at 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m.
Absolutely, yes, indeed. The rebroadcast, WBOK, until we can hook up the live broadcast, because that's what I'm looking forward to. But in the meantime, the folks in New Orleans who listen to the Ron Kelly Show on WBOK 1230 a.m. in New Orleans. Yes, I'll probably be going down there in a couple of months to see what's going on. Maybe, do the morning show live. And I'm supposed to be on the front porch and the WBOK morning show. I'll let you know when that's going to be. I'm not going to be hosting. I'll be guesting. So I have to remind myself it's not my show. Anyway, yeah, Tishman says it's about instilling morals and values. Yeah, but again, I'm not saying that Lamont Gates says so he must be showing masculine social norms, but does that equal a man? No, but he's got to, you see, because if a boy grows up around all women, for example, let's say the mama is there, the grandmama, the auntie, and the mama, the grandmama, the great grandmama in most cases, because grandmama ain't old no more. Now grandmama is like 45, So you got the mama, the grandmama, the great grandmama, the auntie, and maybe the cousin or something. They're all women. And see, this is a boy's formative years, Lamont Gates. This is a boy's formative years. And if he's hanging around all women, I'm not saying he's going to be gay or anything, but if he's hanging around all women, he's not going to learn masculine social norms. And that's something that he should learn. In my opinion, I think that's something that he should learn. He should be around men. He should, just to get an idea. Just so I get an idea. Yeah, he should be shown masculine social norms. Yes, because he doesn't want to be shown feminine social norms. We don't want him to be crossing his legs and, we want him to. He's got to be around people like him. So even if it's where he's around boys, when he's a boy, he's going to be around boys. But I used to take my son with me everywhere. Because I knew his mother, and that's another thing too. My mothers are a lot softer than dudes are. Mothers let them get away with murder, for the most part. Yeah, but we, men don't. That's where the balance is. Because, when I was married, my kids would, they would plot and plan, and if they thought they can get over on me, they would come at me. They would pick me or my wife. They would pick one of us to. They would pick like the one they thought they can get over on. So they would pick her for certain things, to ask her for certain things, and they would pick me to ask me for certain things. Because they knew some things she wasn't going for, and then on the same token, they knew there were some things that I wasn't going for. Lamont Gates says, we don't want, no, I don't mean, like, yeah, I guess a man can cross his legs, but that might have been a simplification. But I think that, if a brother is single, then that boy should spend his time around boys and men. Even if the father is not in the household, hopefully he's a good dude where he'll say, well, okay, well, I'm gonna go get my son, go hang out with him, take him to the, you know, take him to the, well, not to the cigar lounge, not there, but I mean, go get him and take him somewhere, because that's what I used to do. When me and my ex-wife separated, I used to go get my son and I would take him places, I would take him to Chuck E. Cheese, and I didn't like Chuck E. Cheese, but that's what he wanted. He used to have a lot of fun there, so I took him there. But yeah, it is about instilling morals and values. But me personally, I don't think that a single woman can raise the son by herself. I mean, raise a child to be a man. I don't think so. And I know a lot of y'all, and see, a lot of y'all who said, yeah, I have not seen tonight yet. I haven't seen y'all, the ones who said, because quite a few women came on that post and said that they believe that a woman could raise a child to be a man. But see, because Lamont, just like you're asking what defined women, see, that, yeah, okay, but is that, I think that the kid loses something because, yeah, okay, yeah, I was raised by, but I used to hang around men though. We used to hang out at the bar down the street. We used to hang out with the winos, and they used to tell us stuff. Some stuff good, some stuff not so good. But that's what we did. So, I mean, yeah. See, I just think that a kid would be better rounded. Because he was around a man, his mother and his father. The kid would be better rounded because a lot of the kids, 80% of the kids who grew up without well, not 80%, maybe not that much, but more than half of the kids who grew up with a father are in prison right now. More than half. I don't know what the exact percentage is. I didn't look it up before I came on the program, but I do believe that more than half of single parent or single mother boys who were raised by single mothers, and not that it's the mother's fault. I'm not saying that, but I do believe that more than half of the women, more than half of the boys who grew up without a father figure are either have a record, or, and it's probably a larger percentage of the ones who have a record, or are in jail. I would say more than half. And it's not the mother's fault that the kid grows up and goes to jail, because, there's a lot of kids who have grown up with a single mother and became very successful. A lot of football players, basketball players, doctors, lawyers, all kinds of people all kinds of boys who grew up with single mothers and grew up to be very successful. But is success a measure of manhood? Is my question. Is success a measure of manhood? So just because somebody, just because somebody is successful, but does that mean that they're a man? And see, and the sticky part about all of this is, everybody, you can ask 10 people on the street, and all 10 of them have a different opinion of what a man should be. So that's the other thing, because people have their opinion. You could ask 10 single mothers, and they'll all say something different, because everybody has a idea of what a man is. You see, the reason why people have their idea of what a man is comes from their experience. It comes from their experience, how they grew up, their interaction with men, how they were treated. Because it's somebody who the father abused him or beat him or whatever, that's their experience. So they're going to grow up with that experience of being beat or being molested or whatever the case may be. So that's going to wind up being, they're going to grow up with that. You know, they're going to grow up with that thought. Like some of one of the other problems with single mothers raising boys is that, especially if she's had a bad relationship with men, you know, and a lot of the women, and my mother did it. A lot of the women would, you know, say, "Oh, the man ain't nothing, and he ain't nothing, and you know, he don't do what he's supposed to do," and, you know, and the women would kick the boy's father's back in so bad, you know, that the boy winds up growing up hating the mother. So there's a lot of different scenarios to this. My opinion is no. You know, I say no, that a woman, I still believe that, yeah, a woman can raise a boy to be an adult, but can she raise a boy to be a man? I think that the boy is going to miss something. He's going to be missing something if he grows up as grows up with a single mother. Lamont Gates says these are all problems man can also transmit to son. Yeah. See, it's always going to be a better deal if the father or okay, Lamont Gates. I mean, okay, you know, I'm happy for you, but I do think that there's going to be something missing. You know, there's going to be something missing because I believe in my heart of hearts that my life would have been better if I didn't grow up with a single mother household. I do believe that. You know, not that my mother did anything wrong, not that she wasn't there or anything like that, but when you grow up without role models, somebody to follow behind, you're like the white folks, you know, daddy's a lawyer, now I'm a lawyer. Daddy's a doctor, now I'm a doctor. Daddy's a judge, now I'm a judge. You know, daddy's a bus, works for New Jersey Transit, so now I work for, I mean, you know, it could be anything. Daddy was a construction worker, now I'm a construction worker. I mean, it could have been anything. And there's nothing wrong with, staying in your own lane either. But it's so much better to have positive male role models in the family, or at least being around, you know. So the boys kind of get lost in the cracks. I mean, Lamont Gates, you did well, you know. You went to college. I think you have a master's degree, I believe. You know, you've done well. You're an exception. You're not the rule, you're the exception. Because a lot of these boys wind up in gangs. And it's not the mother's fault. Some of the boys with fathers wind up in gangs. But for the most part, I believe, is if they had a positive role model around. I know if I had a positive role model around, I would have had a better life than what I've experienced so far. Not that my life is so bad, but I probably could have achieved more, you know. Because a mother, you know, that man to boy to man kind of camaraderie, a mother can't give a son that. You know, the son needs somebody he can identify with, you know, and you can't identify with your mother. I know I could never identify with my mother, you know. So I miss that, Lamont, that I didn't have somebody to identify with, you know, a positive role model to identify with. I didn't have that, you know. So it's, you know, growing up as a boy, you need that, you know, as a boy, you need that man to boy or male to male, you know, that talk, that walk, you know, because a boy is going to relate to a man. He's going to relate, even though he's not a man, he's going to relate to a man because one day he's going to be a man, you know. So he needs to be around a man, positive influence, not some scummy bummy, Negro sleeping on the couch, but somebody, a positive role model, somebody he can identify with, So I got to go to the bathroom. I'm going behind a tree. He going behind a tree. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's, I know it sounds like, but that's what's up though. You know what I'm saying? If I gotta scratch my, he'll do it too. And not that that's so important, but it's somebody he can identify with. Lamont Gates says, what's your mother? Yeah, she was. Besides, role models aren't always on your home, in your home, I think he's saying. MLK, J.K. Soccer. Yeah, of course. Of course. But, when did you take a walk with MLK? You weren't even alive when he died. JFK either. Socrates, Jesus, none of them. Neither was I. But it's having, you could always look outside of the home, but you have a relationship with a man. You have a relationship. You take a walk. Spend time with your son. Talk to him. He's going to be looking up at you because he's not going to look up to his mother. Or maybe he will, but he's not trying to be his mother. He needs at least some kind of idea of what a man should be. And he's not going to get that from his mother necessarily because he can't really relate to her because she's a female. A boy knows the difference between a man and a woman. And he needs that camaraderie with a man. Because a boy is like a ball of clay, He's like a ball of clay. And if you don't mold him right, if you don't mold the boy right, he's going to go off the rails. Ma Gates says, did we have to be around? Do we have to be around when their words left on? Talking walks and talking sounds like one. Well, no, but it's not. It's not necessarily that, Lamont. It's having that man. You ever see the commercial where the kid, the man is tying his tie. They're both in the bathroom, and the man is tying his tie. Oh no, the man is shaving. Yeah, that commercial. The man is shaving, and the kid is standing next to him, and he's pretending like he's shaving. Or you see a man who's trying to tie his tie, and the kid is a couple of feet away from him, and he's trying to tie his tie the way dad tried. See, this is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Because the kid is looking at you, at the man, and he's molding himself after you. You taught yourself how to shave. Okay, well, but it's so much better. Yeah, I know what you meant. But again, you got that father you can come to the first time you kiss a girl or whatever. You don't want to talk to your mother about that. I don't want to talk to my mother about me kissing a girl. Yeah, I don't want to talk to her about it. I don't even want her to know that I kissed a girl. But this is what the dad is for, Lamont. I understand you grew up on your own. I don't know if you got a relationship with your father or, you ever interacted with him. I don't know that. But what I'm saying is that it's better for a man to be around because the boy is going to model himself after his parent. He's going to model himself after his parents. So, and more power to the women who said that they think they can do it. Okay, fine. Time will tell. Time will definitely tell. Anyway, everybody, got to get out of here. It's about 20 seconds before the hour. I got to get out of here. Thank everybody for joining me. Thanks for your interaction. Thank you, Lamont and Tishman and some of the other people. The people on YouTube, I couldn't even keep up with. There were so many of them hollering at me. I couldn't even really keep up with them, but I'll get around to messaging everybody who I didn't get to. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, everybody. We'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Ron Kelly Show. So until then, I'd like to say that it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And we may not have it all together, but together we can certainly have it all. Thank you so much.